Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This movie wasn't really on my radar. I'm not a D&D player, and beyond being aware of the movie's existence, didn't really pay much attention beyond that. Even being ignorant of the directors who have directed some of my favorite comedies over the past decade. And then especially their comments, certain of their comments in a Variety article pretty much killed any potential interest I would have had in it. That is, until I started hearing positive reviews coming from sources I thought would have disliked it, and the consensus seemed to be like it was actually good. So grudgingly decided to go see it in the theater, and I ended up genuinely enjoying myself. I was very pleasantly surprised that after a kind of a weak-ish opening scene and a second scene that gave me a flashback to the opening of Thor Ragnarok, it was fun. I was genuinely having a good time, and that's even in spite of the things just mentioned and two what must have been gender studies majors sitting right next to me and whose very loud and nonstop conversation included belting out explicit phrases, and in spite of a group of teenagers in the same row that arrived 10 minutes late, then proceeded to exit and re-enter the theater no fewer than 3 times, all while shining lights around like beacons of failed parenting. So most of the eye-roll cringe moments from the trailer, which had turned me off to it in the first place, had either been edited in a different and much more, or edited with better timing, better delivery, different takes, or a number of the things were just missing entirely, much to my relief. The scenes, sequences, acts were very well structured. Nothing particularly grounded. It's pretty straight. The plot's pretty straightforward, but they do leave a decent amount of time to go deeper into the characters. The characters aren't particularly complicated, again, like the plot, but they're solid and consistent and work pretty darn well together. And the writer and director's comedy background definitely shows through, and they handle the humor far better than I was expecting. I was expecting sort of low bar Marvel level humor throughout, but their skill as writers and comedians definitely showed through here. Particularly one scene I had heard about and not in a positive way ended up being absolutely hilarious, and also deepened one of the characters pretty good. Holga's character gets a nice little bit of backstory in a very funny scene, a hilarious scene, but the humor didn't steal from the poignance of the moment. The character beat still managed to land well in spite of also being hilarious, which is good writing. The only character I didn't really care for was Forge, played by Hugh Grant. He gets a little annoying after a while. Kind of funny for a bit, but he gets old very quickly. And that's really the only criticism or complaint I have, at least initially, of the film. Laughed throughout. Some regrettably awful CGI, but thankfully not all of it was terrible. Action was engaging, not great, but solid. Camera stayed wide. You could see what was going on. Not a lot of fast close-up cuts to obscure people who don't know what they're doing. So to sum up, very pleasantly surprised. Glad I went to see it in the theater and left pleasantly surprised and happy that I'd gone to see it.